Soya, soya, soya.
Welcome to Namas University. This is Shiva. I am the destroyer. From the ashes left in my wake comes new life, renewed as fresh waters replenish, rejuvenate, and transform the old into new potential. The subject for today will be exploring the nature of souls and the river of life. It is from this analogy of a river that best describes the unfortunate events that created the mess we're in today. The aspects of the soul can be likened to the stages of a river. A person's soul sits at the source of a tributary, bubbling up from a spring. The springs carve its way through the landscape as a stream, influencing the world around it. As two streams meet, they grow in capacity and flow, connecting the souls at each spring, adding to one another. As more contributaries join into one, rivers form. Rivers continue to merge into greater orders, slowing and deepening until they become great stems of flowing water. Eventually they transition into estuaries that reach the ocean. Unlike a river that has staggered merger points, souls have clearly defined convergences. Souls converge into stations of identity and related to harmonics of the universe or dimensions. The first relates to the personality, the second to the soul. They merge into monad or soul family and continue further down the river to merge into avatars and beyond, all eventually flowing into the creator of the universe. The creator, in this analogy, is both the ocean and the aquifers that bubble up to make the source of each spring. When the spring is cut from its source, it runs dry. The creator is the well that sustains the river of life. He is the source of our spark. As previously told, the primevals, in their jealousy and childish abandon, separated themselves from the Divine Father's source in protest. They had sullied themselves in the fruitless endeavour to make their own perfect world and failed. Rather than being humbled by the experience, they committed themselves further in their disobedience. In their separation from life itself, madness consumed them, and their precious life source drained away, no longer replenished. In arrogance and spitefulness, the primevals opted to still and divert the streams of others to fill their own isolated and diminishing lakes. Aquifers were robbed, rivers raided, basins dammed off, and aqueducts built to drain the currents of others into their own selfish desires. The undeserving had their riverbanks tamped and siphoned dry. A great deluge of ill-gotten gains flowed into the lakes that lost so much to evaporation and by the deep drinking of the primevals. This analogy, in essence, describes the practice of soul harvesting, the literal stealing of the water of life, the divine spark. For the primevals had rejected theirs in spite, but still required it. For those souls, monads, and avatars gullible enough to flock in the direction of the jaded ones, found themselves in the same trap, having been fooled into selling off their divine right for the deceptive promises of hollow riches and tainted power. Their initial glee and greed inevitably turned to desperation and anxiety, having eventually realized that they can no longer sustain themselves without predation and parasitism as a consequence of the treachery they had chosen. From that came depravity, as they caved in to the inescapable drive of thirst or face annihilation. They had signed away their freedom in the pursuit of greed and gluttony, and everyone paid the price for this. Self-elected damnation was their existence, and they even convinced themselves otherwise, rather than take accountability for their transgressions. In reality, they were merely parasites sucking on the life force of others. The horror of their victims pollutes the waters they stole, and the lakes filled with filth and bile. Yet still, the primevals and their deluded followers drank deeply from the cesspool they now inhabited, content in denial over sanity. The tarnished lakes leached into the land around them, polluting vibrant streams by mere proximity, fouling all that surrounded them. The predators mastered deception, promising abundance, riches, and glory. But their promised land was built on sand, poured into a lake of sewage. The greatest filth became that of the primevals, sick and infested with vermin and disease, and overflowed with malice and hatred as they putrefied in the hell they had created. This is their legacy, and it's all because they couldn't take no for an answer. The primevals were beyond hope. This is entitlement and what it leads to. And now we are flushing out this waste and destroying the rot. The tools they utilize to facilitate this outright scam and mutilation of this planet and its inhabitants is downright disgusting. We can only offer solace in the knowing we are going deep into the folds, destroying all networks of corruption and repairing the damage done. The wounds run deep. The time for unconditional love is over. Accountability will take point now. Those that persist in this depravity will face justice. It must be said that not all of those seemingly at the forefront of this debaucherous affair are wholly guilty. In the deceptive nature of the primevals and their agents, entrapment played a pivotal role in their dealings. Many found themselves with no other choice but to concede. This will be a subject discussed in coming weeks. Please join us again next week when Mother Mary will be speaking.
SHIVA Kumar Soya